Hey, thanks for checking us out. This is Sports and Other Stuff. You can find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We have a new episode every week. We have more than 100 in the can, so check it out. Thanks for being a part of it. Just subscribe. Thanks a million.
T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir. This is Sports and Other Stuff. We are the home of Super Bowl 56. Wait. What I mean to say is we'll be watching it from home. That's what I meant to say. What a weekend. The stage is set for Super Bowl 56. The Rams will host the Bengals. Lugs, T-Dog, good to see you boys. Take a listen to this.
4 years ago, he was a senior in high school in tiny Fort Payne, Alabama. Now the Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up. It is good. Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. That is unbelievable. The Cincinnati Bengals come from behind on the road. Unbelievable, Dan.
It is no fluke. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Super Bowl 56.
Yes, unbelievable to many, but I got to say, not to us. We thought the Bengals would make it. Courtesy of the Bengals Radio Network, Dan Horde, of course, and our favorite Dave Lapham. Bam! What a game. Fellas, let's get started. How about those Bengals? Wow. Hooday!
Well, Evan McPherson, like I say, he can be mayor. So can our boy Burrow. But hell of a game. It was one of those moments, though, where I thought after the first half that the Chiefs would just come out in the second half and just lay them low. I mean, just bury them. And it didn't work out that way. It seemed the Bengals were able to frustrate Mahomes. So that's my initial takeaway is amazing job by the defense to stop the Bengals or to stop the Chiefs in the second half. And Burrow did what he does. And he seemed to hit Jamar Chase was doubled and triple teamed, but every time he got single coverage, it seemed Burrow would find him for what they needed to move the sticks. So that's my initial take.
Yep. T-Dog.
Kind of like what Lugg said, it was a tale of two halves. Chiefs scored touchdowns on the first three possessions. And one of the major turning points was their fourth possession in the first half. They got greedy. And I don't know if it's true. I don't know if Andy Reid allowed it to happen or it was his call or Mahomes waved off the special teams. They went for it. The problem is they didn't go in the end zone. They threw a pass to Tyreek Hill, and he was short of the end zone. And after that, credit to the Bengals. For the most part, there's obviously other factors. The big thing that the Bengals did in the second half that made the difference is they only rushed three most of the time. They dropped 8 into coverage and were like, Patrick Mahomes beat us, and he didn't. I mean, they were down 18, and then they scored 21 unanswered points to take the lead. Again, the second critical, I think, after the stop by Eli Apple on Tyreek Hill in the first half, the other critical point was B.J. Hill, their defensive tackle, that actually they got in a trade for Billy Price. He had an interception of Patrick Mahomes where he batted up and caught it. Yep. And that allowed the pass to Jamar Chase from Burrow. And then Trent Taylor scored the 2-point conversion to tie the game. And after that, it was just all these guys that have been critical all year stepping up in huge spots. Trey Hendrickson, their free agent pass rusher, he had 1.5 sacks. Sam Hubbard, particularly on that final drive to hold Chiefs out of the end zone, on consecutive plays, he got a sack, and then he got a strip sack. Luckily, Butker was able to make that field goal, but Sam Hubbard almost made it a real dicey one. And just that last drive by Joe Burrow to give them the lead in regulation, that he had two big scrambles, and one was for 11 yards, but particularly the first scramble, the 7-yard scramble, he eluded. I think Chris Jones had him by his ankles. He was able to somehow squirt out. I don't know, put like butter on his legs. He popped out, and Chris Jones, being an All-Pro, he was able to pop back up, and he scrambled, and you could see him nip at his ankles a second time, and he's able to elude and put the ball out and get the first down. I mean, it was just guts. It was just tenacity, and kind of like what Lug said, McPherson. This is, McPherson, he was just clutch like he's been. He's scored. Think about this, guys. In the 3 playoff games, he scored 4 field goals in each of the 3 games. This was his 5th game-winning kick of his career, and he's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
And the one that gave him the lead was a 52-yarder. I mean, if you remember, he threw it to P. Ryan, but Burrow threw it to P. Ryan, and P. Ryan didn't really get a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great play. I'm not going to completely kill P. Ryan on that one, but it was a 52-yarder. Again, I think he hit 12. I think he hit 12 50-yard plus field goals for the year. So again, it's not like he's not accustomed to doing this.
Ridiculous.
I'm impressed with him. I did not realize he's from Fort Payne, Alabama. That's where the band Alabama is from. So now they got some celebrity push from somewhere other than an old country music band.
Yes, sir.
But I think one of the things is those guys are just so young that they don't know to be afraid. I mean, they're just like, we're going for this. So
here's what I like about this so much. Number one, it's not the same old 2 teams, right? It's the win now guys who banked everything to get here and the whiz kids. And it's 2 teams we never expected. I don't think we fully did expect to be here with the Packers and the Buccaneers and other teams that kind of were in the way. But I think that's what I'm excited most about. It's different. It's different players. It's not the same old worn out story for the several years in a row.
Yeah, well, I'd say that the Rams thus far are being able to, their investment is paying off, but now the pressure is really on Stafford, I think, whereas the Bengals can come in looser because nobody's going to give them a shot. But so Stafford has to perform, and he has. And if we want to move on to the you got something more you need to say?
He's got something more.
I just want to first give credit to again, like Higgins. He came up huge because for the most part, you remember Chase went crazy against them the first time they played in week 17, and he was bottled up for 54 yards and a touchdown. But Higgins came through huge with 103 yards receiving. And I also just want to give credit. Again, the skill position guys have shown up in different ways all year. Mixon, he had 88 yards rushing and 27 yards receiving. And 28 of those 88 yards came in overtime, where KC, it felt like, was getting a little gassed. And he just – and also particularly, I think you all would agree, most running backs – McKinnon showed juice, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But in the later game, a lot of those running backs looked like they were running through tar. Like Mixon looked like the most explosive back of all of them.
Yeah, he did.
And just had some – he gave them life, and he protected Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, who took 9 sacks last week, I believe had no sacks this week. So and again, I will hit on the thing that came to me with KC, and this will be my last point, is obviously, Kelsey had a good game. I think he had 95 yards, a touchdown. Hill had a good game, 78 yards and a touchdown. Mahomes, for the most part, played well, except for, again, those 2 interceptions. And again, that interception in overtime, it felt like the Aaron Rodgers throw that went incomplete, where he forced it into double coverage. I know it's Tyreek Hill, but you're forcing it into double coverage. And I just think they need another guy. I know they've been kind of linked to Odell if he gets out, or even though I like McKinnon and I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if teams are going to drop 8, if you have like a power back with some burst, just ram it down their throat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the thing that killed KC.
All right.
Well, and the fact that Mahomes went back to that mid-season form where he was just impatient, and you could see that he was totally frustrated. They would show him on the sidelines. He wasn't engaged. I mean, quarterbacks should be looking at the defense, on those Surface iPads or whatever, those surfaces, and he wasn't doing any of that.
I will say, because you saw with Burrow, like obviously passing came hard for also Cincinnati. I'm kind of surprised when a guy led the league or led his team last week in rushing that he didn't run more.
Right. That's his thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So like Patrick Mahomes shows the ability he can run, like just to try to open up some windows. If they're going to drop 8, you have enough speed. You can pick up 4 or 5 yards consistently.
His
probably.
QB rating in the second half was abysmal for Patrick. I mean, like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, all right, game 2, the other one, another good one. Rams, Niners. Any surprises there? Jimmy G? Is that it for him?
I was surprised that they jumped out as quick as they did, and got ahead like they did. Jimmy G did what we expect Jimmy G to do, but he had some help from Aaron Donald in that regard. I was just going to say an overview for me is the fact that thus far, the $200, $300 million investment in players is paying off. And one of the things I saw today in one of the notes was next year, the Rams will be able to defray the Todd Gurley and the Jared Goff, and they'll get $34 million back in cap space. So they'll probably go out and buy themselves another player of note somewhere. But overall, good for Matthew Stafford and all those guys. I mean, they worked hard. So here we go.
Yeah, right.
I just want to say, obviously my main takeaway, because I stuck up for him for a few years now, is just seeing. I mean, that's the thing, is being a member of the Joe Burrow fan club and the Matthew Stafford fan club.
Yes,
like
sir.
I said, it's going to be slightly painful, but in the end, it's going to be a good bittersweet because Stafford, for the most part, played well. I mean, that first drive, they got down he had 2 horrific throws in this game. And again, Stafford is like a high power billionaire version of Jimmy G in some ways, because they both have these brain farts. They play well. I'm not gonna kill Jimmy G like Luggs, I think, does.
He wants to.
Garoppolo played well, I thought, at times. It's just a Stafford. I mean, that first INT, it was laid across the middle, which is always a huge no-no, and also it was behind, and it allowed it to be batted up, and Jimmy Ward picked it off. And he almost threw that pick when he was trying to get the game-winning tying drive that they ended up kicking the field goal on to Jaquez Tart, who dropped it.
Yeah. Oh man, he was. Whoa. Yes, it was like a pop fly to center field.
Yeah.
Wow.
But luckily, the man of the game, Cooper Kupp, I mean, he is following up what he did in the season with the postseason. I mean, for him to go for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, and in both of those, I mean, he beat Embry Thomas on a cover of miscommunications on his first touchdown, and then he left Quan Williams just in the dust on an out and up for his second one. And then the critical drive to give them the lead, he abused Williams again on a skinny post for the reception that set it up. And again, it wasn't just all him. The big acquisition midseason, Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
All those people that doubted that Odell Beckham was busted and broken. I mean, again, he had some good moments with Eli, but Eli broke down. And again, I think Baker's going to be a solid quarterback, but Baker is not the talent of a Matthew Stafford, and it shows. Odell has flashed for moments with the Rams, and this these last two games, it seems like he's